What's going on, guys? Welcome back to RC Everyday, another installment of Trail Finder 2 Everyday. So we're back on the white Xtra cab. This thing, I was very hesitant to do this kind of build. I've never built a show truck kind of rig, and it is very expensive, and we're going to put more parts on it today. And we're going to do some fine-tuning of the suspension. I posted this, I post everything on social media just like, I always have, and this got such a huge response. There's so many Toyota fans out there, people who had trucks like this, built like this back in the day. Some people still have them, but I got overwhelmed with a post that everybody posted pictures of their real trucks, and there's 2 or 3 of them that look identical to this. So it was pretty neat to see, but it gave me some more ideas. And one thing I've noticed, they always squat a little in the back. That's just the fact of it. And the way we've got the suspension set up now, if you remember in the last video, we put the longer shackles on the rear, and that got our pinion angle up. We're still running 2 lift blocks in the back, and we've got the dual shocks and everything all around. So I'm gonna make some adjustments to the lift blocks and get the back just a little bit lower. I'm trying to find the right balance. I bought the wrong parts, so we're gonna talk about those first. Not the wrong ones, but how to help you find the right ones. RC4wd makes 3 different kind of blocks for axles now, and yeah, the ones I need I don't have. I have a couple down here, thinner ones. So let's talk part numbers and stuff. And again, I put it in the last video. I'm going to put it in this description as well, a list of all the part numbers for all the stuff I've done to this truck, and a breakdown of the price. With the price of the truck, we're already over $1,000 into this thing. It's gotten pretty spendy. But also, we're going to put on the tube front bumper. I couldn't do without. We got the tube rear, I got the tube front. Luckily, my local hobby shop had the KC lights, so we got matching lights to put 2 more of those on the front bumper. So let's look at the lift blocks and the suspension setup first. I did want to touch on this. Somebody mentioned in a comment on the last video about how easily the doors pop open. That's because I'm pulling on their own only support. These doors are held shut with magnets. When it's on there and it's the proper width, it's set up with the body mounts, they do not just pop open on their own unless you run into something pretty fast. So that is... when I pop these out, it pops open because I'm flexing the entire body around. I just wanted to specify that because it's not like they're fragile or anything. It's a pretty durable hinge setup. It's all glued in, and it's got a metal 2-piece hinge on both doors. So let me see if I can get you a good camera angle on the rear suspension. All right, so you can see the setup here. We've got 2 lift blocks, longer shackles, the shocks mounted in the same location, but instead of going to the hoop or the shock mount inboard of the frame, they're just going out on the outboard sides of the frame rails. There's lots of holes on the TF2 that you can tie into and use for that. And then just a longer bolt through the axle end, nut on the end, shock on each side. There's spacers and everything to get it all jiving and straight, but pretty simple setup. I had somebody ask me about that too. It's like I did a whole video on YouTube about the shock setup, but just showing it again in case I didn't show it very well. So RC4wd has 3 different kind of blocks. The ones I bought before are the RC4wd lift blocks for Yoda and K44 axles. This is Z-S0011. And these have the angled blocks. I've got some sitting over here. These are used to adjust the pinion angle. So we were running some of these at first to correct the pinion angle until we put the longer shackles. That raised the whole angle of everything up, so we didn't need them anymore. That's not what I needed. I have another pack of those, which I needed the regular blocks. These I picked up for another project, but I figured I'd show them to you. These are leaf undermounts for Yoda 2 and K44 axles. So these are Z-S2135. And this is made to flip the axle on the other side of the leaf spring. So these blocks are actually curved on one side. I'm not going to open them right now because I'll lose them. But they have the notch in them to fit around the axle. That's what I need it for a lowered truck project. Then they have the actual Superlift branded lift blocks. They are all straight cut, and it comes with I think 3 different sizes, these being the thinnest. So these are barely 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch thick. And then they have sizes like these that I have double stacked in here. So I think we're going to swap out one of these for one of those and lower the back down about maybe 1/4 inch is what it looks like. And I'm hoping I don't give us too much squat because that's the only 2 other blocks I have other than the angled ones and the ones I've shown you. I would really like to just go down by that much, but I don't have that handy. So I'm gonna take one more look at my parts bin, make sure I don't have any other blocks before I pull all this apart. It's not gonna be fun with the double shock setup because we gotta pull this all the way out, take the shocks off, flip this up to be able to get to the screws holding these blocks in. So it's gonna be a little bit of work, and I'm not gonna show it again because I already showed it on the last video, but get the gist of where we're going. So let's get that done. All right, so good news, I did find the other blocks from the set. So that's basically what you get with the Super Lift set. You get some of these, and some of these. And we're swapping from this to this. I've already done one side. I was able to cheat and get those from the top. So I'm using scale bolts. Obviously we got some stainless steel looking screws in there, and this these hardware I get from Locked Up RC. When you get the full vehicle sets, it comes with these drill attachments for the scale bolt, which is handy. It's a little dangerous using power tools on your scale hardware, as always, but I've had less of these strip out than I have of just standard M3 stuff. So we're able to cheat the system there and not have to take the whole rear end apart, not have to pull the shocks apart, luckily. Let me make sure I pull the right one out. So they're symmetrical, very OCD with symmetry. Back when I worked at Peterbilt, it used to drive me crazy because all the new trucks had DEF systems on it, and they didn't have the same size fuel tank on both sides because they had the DEF tank on one side. So it always irked me. I like things being symmetrical on my chassis. So I don't know how much drop we're going to really get out of this. I've found less is more. So instead of putting the tiny spacer in and then having to change it out, we'll go with this because it'll probably be enough. Definitely don't want to get crazy tightening those. So that was actually a lot easier and quicker than I thought it'd be. Let me throw the body back on and we'll see how much squat we got. All right, I think it's perfect. I'm happy with that. Yeah, it would have been too much going the other one, so that worked out great. A lot of them I saw were squatted a little more than that, but I didn't want to go that far. We didn't want to be what we know of as squatted trucks today. I also had a lot of people ask about how it performed. I assumed more shocks, it's going to be stiffer, and it's not necessarily. These shocks just have oil. There's no springs in them. They're not like crawler shocks. These are just on there for mainly appearance. So we're still getting about the stock flex out of it. Obviously, we've got a lot more ground clearance now and a lot more weight. So we've added some top heaviness to it, but you could still crawl this and it would still perform like a stock truck for the most part. But let's move on to this front bumper. I don't know how this attaches. I'm gonna have to look up the instructions on their website. It does not come with any actual instructions. Where is the knife? I want to get it out and see. It looks like it mounts through the holes in the bumper, which I'm excited about because I did not want to lose the valance and stuff. All the crawler versions of these I've built over the years, I take the valance off. I've got paper making noise in the video. You can't hear what I'm saying. Yeah, I kind of like the stock look. It kind of goes with all of this. So it looks like it mounts through those holes in the bumper. So we'll have to figure out how that works, but that's going to be cool. I want to scratch it up. There's another plate in here that mounts, I think, to the body. So it's obviously going to come on and off with the body. All right, guys, this is part number Z-S2141. Move this out the way. This is interesting. So I pulled up on their website for that product. We actually take the bumper and the valance off the truck and attach it to this bumper and then to the frame. So it's going to stay on the frame when we take the body on and off. That's pretty cool. It's different than I would have thought. So I got to pull the body off. I got some towels down so we can flip it upside down and then we'll get that thing on. All right, guys, there's one catch to this. You've got to have one of these bumper mounts. These are the ones that slide in the end of the frame. And from the picture, it looks like it needs to be this, which I think is a 0. It's just straight. It has no dip down. I don't have any of these in metal. The only ones I had metal were number 2s, which have a drop. That's what we used on the rear to mount that bumper. So that's something to consider. We needed one for the rear. We need one for the front. A lot of the newer TF2s don't come with this because, like the Scottsdales and even this, the bumpers are part of the body. There's not even a rear bumper on this truck. So if you've built TF2s before, you probably got some of these laying around. Otherwise, you may have to pick one up. So this is going to go together something like this. It's going to attach to that. That's going to attach to the frame, and this is going to attach to our grill as well as our bumper through the grill, our bumper through the bumper, sorry, and something like that. So, all right, we're working on it. So I've got to take, appears I got to take the grill and the bumper out, which are not going to be fun because we have lights. Oh no, we got lights in the bumper. This just gets more complicated. I don't like that at all. Let me see what else we can do here. All right, before we move forward, I had to put some lights on this thing. These are, oh, lens fell on the floor. I don't want to lose that. These are the RC4wd drive KC Highlight Daylighters V2 Z-E0022. I got these at my local hobby shop, about 15 bucks. It comes with 6. So it would have been, one pack would have been enough to do the whole truck. I had 4 left over that we used on the roll bar, and the 2 of them are on the front of my Blazer. Got those mounted up. Again, I'm not running LEDs to any of these aftermarket lights. It's just not my cup of tea. So this could be a pain in the butt, but I found another way to do this, and I think we're only gonna have to cut a couple things. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. There always is. So per their instructions, they want you to mount this to one of these. Take your grill, or your grill has to come off to be able to get the bumper off, and then this bolts to the air dam bolts, and then your bumper bolts through it to this bracket, and then you mount all of that to your chassis, and your bumper doesn't stay attached to the body. But we have lights already in our bumper, so we can't have that as a separate part, not without losing some of our scale lighting. This is why I hate lights. So my plan, I think we're just going to scrap all this. I think I'm going to chop these off, and we're just going to bolt this in here and bolt the bumper to it, and it just all stay part of the body. That would work better, I don't know as far as strength wise, but if we had actually wired these lights up, then they could be tied into this system if we had a complete light kit instead of just the basic one. But we do have to cut these off. I believe they will interfere with the frame. If not, they just stick down and look weird. There is room on there. We'll try it first without it, because I don't want to cut up something, because we might come back later and change our mind. You never know where this truck will end up. So I'm going to pull these 2 screws out, because taking the entire front end off to disassemble is not fun with all these lights, and you got to take all the retaining clips. The grill on the 4Runner is already, it has metal brackets on the corners with some small hardware. This engine tray is going to make removing the grill itself a nightmare. You'd have to take the engine tray out to get to the 2 screws for that. So yeah, this seems like a much easier way to do it. So we'll put it on like this and see how it looks. I'm going to go ahead and attach the bumper to this through the bumper, the other bumper, not this bumper, that bumper, but the other bumper. And then we'll pull those out and mount it all up so it's nice and rigid. And hopefully it's rigid enough. All right, so this went from full disassembly to pretty quick job. It does come with longer screws for your valance. They are self-threading. They do screw in pretty easily. I've got the bumper on loose as well. Get these tight as I can by hand. If you're going to run your truck with this bumper, you definitely want to Loctite these where it goes from the bumper to the bracket. Not this bumper, but that bumper. If we get this any more complicated. Definitely want to Loctite those. I'm not going to, because this truck's too pretty. Destined to be a shelf queen, I'm afraid. Yeah, we're looking at the front of the frame from here. We should have plenty of room for those to fit down and not interfere with anything at all. I'm not even worried. Oh yeah, we're good. So again, we're adding a lot of weight on this front bumper assembly. So if you're crawling this thing, if you're actually rock crawling it with this bumper, hooking it to the chassis is probably a wise decision. This being a show truck, I'm not worried about it. You can see it flexes a little bit. The point of where it'll break will probably be your bumper, where the truck bumper, the plastic bumper attaches back here to the grill. So then you have to pull it all off to replace it anyway, but just a thought. But this is going to work out just fine. Oh yeah, we're golden. All right, there it is. It seems pretty solid. Like I said, if you hit something head on, then you're liable to crack your truck bumper grill mount if you're out actually crawling this thing, but I think it looks pretty good. I don't know what else to do with this truck. I think I'm happy with it, the way it sits. I like the suspension changes we made. I like the little bit of squat in the back. I don't know what else to do to it. Try to take the interior a little further. I know some people suggested like a dump bed and things like that. That would be cool. I don't know though, because one, the bumper's in the way. Two, the body is attached to the bed, like structurally, so we'd have to cut the mounts off the inside of the body where they come up behind the cab. And I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth it. It's so clean, the paint job. I mean, if this was something we'd custom made and the body was in primer right now or something, then that's something a little more on the table. But being that it's already pre-painted, I don't know. It's hard to mess up a good paint job. So again, I mentioned it in the last video as well. I'm still looking. I've seen some stuff. A lot of people, I did a trailer post on Facebook and everybody was showing me trailers with jet skis and stuff. And I'm still looking for something the right size for this thing to haul. I still think like a really cool chromed out Banshee quad in the back or something would look pretty slick, but I haven't found the right size yet. But yeah, all these parts, guys, are from RC4wd drive, wheels and tires, shocks, bars, body, the truck itself. Check them out. There'll be links below or part numbers below for everything on this truck. And yeah, it's a little bit different. I'm still digging it. I really want to do this to one of the square bodies, but yeah, this cost quite a bit of money, all this stuff. So it's maybe a project for further down the road. But get out there and do something fun with the hobby, guys, no matter what it is. You're building show trucks or rusty trucks or crawlers or slammed or rat rods or whatever. Have some fun with the hobby. Keep it scale, and I'll see y'all in the next video.